Smackdown was a waste of 2 hours. Brock and Roman Reigns were not there. Neither of them could bother to show up. CM Punk was not there at all either. And Wargames is next weekend. Super Cody, he showed up. We thought that Cody was taken out with what Drew McIntyre did in the first segment. And then later on, going into the second hour of the show, Cody magically reappeared and helped Carmelo Hayes win his match to advance in the Last Time Is Now tournament. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't. Let's just go ahead and get into SmackDown from November the 21st, 2025. So, we kicked the show off with the Vision. Paul Heyman just puts over the Vision. So, Jimmy and Jay, they come out. They talk smack to Paul Heyman and everything. Paul Heyman talks smack back to them, talking about how there's 4 of them and only 2 of them. So, there was some CM Punk chants that picked up. Cody, he was supposed to come out, but he didn't. So we cut to the parking lot, and Drew McIntyre is stepping out of Cody Rhodes' tour bus. Cody Rhodes is basically laid out and beaten up. He's kind of, out of it, basically. Well, he is out of it. He's got a little bit of blood coming from his mouth. And from there, that ends the segment. So, it is what it is. So then the Usos, they're looking for Cody, trying to check on him. Drew, he gets in his car, he dips out. He says, see you at Wargames, champ. And then he drives off laughing, and then that was it. And then the Usos and doctors and stuff, they attend to Cody. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night. Ilja Dragunov defeats one of his greatest rivals in JD McDonagh. I don't give a fuck about this. All right, Dragunov wins. This was a long, drawn-out match. It went about a good 15 to 20 minutes. Whatever, who cares? Ilja retains. Will he ever give Tommaso Ciampa a shot at the gold? Probably not. So we get a backstage segment. It was like a meeting between Charlotte Flair and Rhea. They're talking about what happened years ago about, Rhea wanted to see who was best. The same thing with Charlotte. But they agreed to come together and join forces to take on the Kabuki Warriors for Wargames. And then they shook hands. And that was that. Who cares about that? Moving on. So, Nick Aldis, he confronts Paul Heyman about the appearance of Drew McIntyre earlier on in the night. Paul Heyman says that his persona is non grata on his show, but Paul Heyman insists that Drew but Paul Heyman insists that he even told Drew to leave because he respects the suspension. So, then Paul addresses concerns about interference later on. No, that was Nick Aldis who was addressing that. And Paul Heyman promises that Bronson Reed needs no help before the Vision and walk away. So, whatever, That's fine. It is what it is. Moving on from that, Ilja Dragunov, he's backstage. He's trying to get to the locker room. So Tommaso Ciampa and Tama Tonga, they're there. They confirm about going after the title, whatever, who cares. Then this leads us into Bronson Reed versus Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes advances in the Last Time Is Now tournament with the help of Cody Rhodes. So Cody came out Division, they came out first, which is weird because isn't Bronson Reed supposed to be a monster, basically? A giant killer, basically? And he can't beat Carmelo Hayes. So Division, they come out. Braun Breaker, he shows up. He gets involved. Logan Paul does the same thing. The Usos, they show up. They brawl with Braun and Logan Paul. Then Cody shows up from behind. He attacks Bronson Reed, lays him out with the Crossroads, throws Carmelo Hayes back into the ring. Carmelo Hayes advances via countout. He's able to make it back into the ring before the count of 10. This is lame as fuck. I mean, it makes sense, but not really. Bronson Reed should have won, but in a way, if you look at it, this is a pretty okay finish. It's reasonable, but come on, man. Because we know Carmelo Hayes is not going to win the tournament. So, whatever. It is what it is. Who gives a damn? Moving on from that. So, this leads us into a backstage segment. Chelsea Green talks about reducing her championship celebration because the vibes aren't vibing. And a confrontation with Julia doesn't help, which is funny. So, Jade Cargill, she shows up. She calls herself the greatest women's champion of all time. I mean, there is. And that was the end of that segment, so that's fine there. Again, I wish that they would have had Jade to be aligned with Julia and Kiana James, but it seems like they're going to put Kiana James and Julia as a tag team. It seems like, but it is what it is. Who gives a damn about that? Moving on. This leads us into a backstage segment where Sami Zayn, he's joined by his friends, Motor City Machine Guns, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rey Fenix. So, they address Solo Sikoa and the MOTs. They call him out for a Survivor Series elimination match next week. So, whatever. They just all talk, smack, and that was it. Who cares? I didn't care about this shit. Moving on. DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa, they defeat Fraxium. So, Axiom is unmasked. So, he ends up hitting the Spanish Fly. Candice LeRae shows up. She rips off Axiom's mask. Axiom covers his face up and everything. And then Johnny just falls on top of him, pins him 1, 2, 3. And that was the match. Whatever. I don't care about this shit. I really don't. So, we get well, I've already talked about it, but I'll talk about it again here. So, we get a cinematic vignette between Charlotte Flair and Rhea. They agreed to put the past behind them, and, that was that. So, whatever. I don't care about this at all. Moving on, and we get a video package from John Cena talking about being authentic. Highlighted by the moment that led him connecting better with the fans. That's fine there, I guess. WWE is going to release that pretty soon on their YouTube channel. Can't wait for that. That should be interesting. I hope it's a good 30 to 45 minutes. That would be great. Probably not, but probably a good 30 minutes. I doubt if it'll be 45. I would love for it to be at least an hour, though. I mean, because John Cena has meant, to me, he's meant so much to this business. From a modern perspective. I'm talking about from, early 2000s to now. Not the 80s and 90s. Main event of the evening, wrestling-wise. Penta defeats Finn Balor. Match was pretty okay. Didn't last long. But Penta got the win. So, it is what it is. He wins via the Mexican Destroyer. Yay. So, on commentary, Sheamus was announced that he's out of the tournament. He sustained a shoulder injury, and so Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are going to discuss the matter, and they're going to make an official announcement ahead of LA Knight's match next week. So, that could be Joe Hendry maybe showing up, maybe. I don't know. I don't really care about it. It sucked that Sheamus got injured, though. But it is what it is, man. Sheamus, he's a vet. He loves to go balls to the walls with his shit. So, there's that. Injuries will happen. We wish him all the best, though. Moving on, we get a vignette showing Sol Sikoa addressing Penta and advancing in the tournament, promising to take him down next Monday. And then he and his MOTs are going to take down Sammy and his crew next week, next Friday. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit about this. The closing segment of the show was the women's war games. Rhea didn't say anything. She just put over everyone in on her team and everything else. So AJ Lee showed up. But before she showed up, the heels of the women's war game, the Kabuki Warriors, Last Legend, and Nia Jax, they attacked them. AJ Lee showed out. She got into a brawl with them. Becky Lynch showed up, and the heels beat the shit out of the baby faces, and then Becky Lynch shook hands with the women, the heels. So she's a part of. I mean, she's the fifth member. Who cares? Like, we all knew this shit going in. We all knew it was going to be AJ Lee and Becky Lynch being added into the Wargames match, women's Wargames match. It was a no-brainer. Like, who cares? This is a waste of time. This is a boring-ass segment. This shit should have happened at the start of the show, but it is what it is, man. SmackDown was just a waste. It just was. I don't get it. I don't get it. SmackDown has no sense of direction at all. It's fallen off of a cliff, and it has been for almost 2 years. And I don't know how you get it back on track. I really don't. The train is off the rails. I really don't know how the hell you get this back on track. I don't know. I really don't know. But, it is what it is. And I don't expect for next week's show, Go Home show, to be a good show either. Because it's going to be, oh, well, everybody's out for, Thanksgiving and all that stuff. It's like, bro, come on. Like, seriously. But it is what it is. It's not that important. So, whatever. But what did you guys think of SmackDown? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.